leading a crowdfunding platform.
The objective in my mind was to try and build something which could help over 1 million people. And the only way you could do it is through this concept called crowdfunding.
He focuses on funding social causes, products, and creative ideas.
Crowdfunding is the act of a large number of people, which is the crowd, coming together to fund something that they believe in.
NewsX India A-List proudly recognizes Ranganath Thota for excellence in social entrepreneurship.
Hello and welcome. You're joining us on NewsX India A-List. With us today is a very special guest. We have Ranganath Thota with us on the broadcast. He's the founder and CEO of a unique crowdfunding platform called Fueladream. Firstly, Ranganath, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and on the show.
Namaste, Parinidhi, and my pleasure to be here.
All right. So if I could just firstly, start by asking you, you were in the media space, right? We were discussing this a couple of days ago. And from there, now you have started a venture of your own. It's a crowdfunding platform and indeed extremely successful. Tell us, Ranganath, why the switch?
So I used to be in the corporate world for close to about 30 years, worked across consumer products, worked across media, worked in India, worked in China, worked in Southeast Asia. And about 6 years back, I realized I was making a lot of money and it wasn't as gratifying as I thought it should be. And I did a quick relook. I realized that, helping others possibly was more gratifying and satisfying and meaningful. So about 6 years back, I actually literally sold everything I owned and decided to, start this crowdfunding platform, because the objective in my mind was to try and build something which could help over 1 million people. And the only way you could do it is through this concept called crowdfunding. And I read about it for about half an hour, discovered what it is, and decided this is the way we should do it. So about 6 years back, I moved to Bangalore and started the platform. So that's been the shock.
Can you tell us a little about how Fueladream operates and what do you think sets you apart from your competitors?
Yeah. So crowdfunding is the act of a large number of people, which is the crowd, coming together to fund something that they believe in. They could fund anything from an idea to an innovation to a creative product to social impact, and social initiatives. What we discovered is that first thing is when people fund innovations, creative ideas, the overwhelming, emotion is passion. They're passionate about something and that's why they support. Similarly, when they fund a social initiative or they help someone in need, then the emotion is compassion. So you have compassion at one end and you have passion at one end. But a lot of times the people are the same. So we could, for example, fund the education of the child and at the same time fund something cool like an electric bike. So the first thing we did is we are the only platform in the world which actually does both. That's the first thing. So people get an experience where on compassionate grounds, they can actually support someone. On passionate grounds, they can actually fund, a beautiful idea or a creative idea. Like, for example, this is a smart wallet with a chip in it, connects to the phone. If you lose your wallet, you can actually call it with your phone. And if you lose your phone, you can call it with the wallet. Wow. And you can actually use the phone camera and take pictures using the wallet.
So is this a campaign that you had run on Fueladream?
Yes, very successful campaign. Did it 4 years back. So this obviously is funded out of passion. There's no compassion involved here. But the same person says, okay, now let me help people with cataract surgeries. Let me help them with education. So that's where compassion comes. So the experience for funders on the platform is extremely gratifying because they get a high because of compassion. They also get a high because of passion. So that's the first thing that we noticed, and we did different. And that's what makes us unique. The second thing is you look at crowdfunding. One of the interesting things about crowdfunding is the whole act of giving. When people give funds, that is something most of us don't understand. We don't understand how our brothers, sisters, best friends give. Their giving behavior is something we don't understand. So on social media, we talk about the food we eat, the holidays we take, the pictures we like, but we never talk about giving. So it's never understood. And there's a huge science and consumer behavior which is involved in giving, which is very, very unique and different. And a lot of times when I say science, people say, is it like physics, chemistry? What is different about it? Yeah. So the question I asked them, for example, in India is why do 80% of Indian women and girls have their first names ending with AEI?
Hmm.
And people are very perplexing, what? And I said, look, there's a huge science to why 80% of Indian women and girls, including if you look at your name, Paridhi,
Yeah,
ending
exactly.
with
That's
an
what I was
I.
thinking, my name ends with I. Yeah.
So there's a science to it. And if you don't understand it, it's very complicated to say, seriously, I didn't know this. Similarly, crowdfunding, is a science, and there are 4 key elements which go into it.
Okay.
So it's like a dining table with 4 legs. If even one leg is wobbly, it's not a great dining experience. Similarly, crowdfunding has these 4 legs, which is storytelling, technology, consumer behavior, and most important, communication. So what happens is, unless you learn about it and are aware about it, you can't do a perfect crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
So the other unique thing we do as a platform is we actually teach crowdfunding to large number of people. So these could be fundraisers who are corporate people, they could be students, they could be groups of people like Rotary clubs. And we work with some of the finest NGOs in the country. So that's the second.
Ranga, in fact, sorry to interrupt you, but we've been talking for a while now, right? And I understand that you have a very personal relationship when it comes to the people that have, crowdfunding, this thing that have crowdfunding, what are they called? Campaigns, right? You have a very personal relationship with them. How does that work? How do you build that rapport?
So what happens is, usually when people want to crowdfund something, as I said, 9 out of 10 people really don't know how to go about it. The intention is good. They want to help, whether it is an NGO, whether it's an individual, anyone. So they need a lot of hand holding, which is where me and my team get involved, and we actually support them with everything. So right from the story to the approach to the strategy to how about doing it, we get involved. The other important thing about crowdfunding is raising funds is one part of it.
Yeah.
The other responsibility which a platform has, both ethically and morally, is also understanding whether, one, this is a feasible project. Second, will money be spent the correct way? So there is an element of due diligence which needs to be done. So that's the other reason we get involved, because we want to understand, what the project is all about, and we want to make sure. So a lot of times people come to us with great projects, but what they don't realize is, if they raise 5 times the amount that they were planning to, they actually cannot execute. They don't have the capability. So we actually help with that. So unlike other platforms where you can start a campaign in an hour or maybe even 15 minutes, with us, it takes at least 2 days.
And what is your success rate like? How many campaigns have reached their goal amount?
So great question. So typically the success rate is about 70%. Right? And the campaigns that don't work well simply because the person doing it, they don't manage it well. That's the only reason. It's not like the story is not good. That's taken care of. And the beauty about crowdfunding is, it's like the movie business in a certain way. Movies launch on Friday, and by Monday, you know whether it's a hit or a flop. Yeah. Same thing happens with crowdfunding. Typically, the first 96 hours are a litmus test, and they tell you whether it's going to do well or not. So if you launch it the right way, and the first 96 hours, you put in the right amount of efforts, you usually get past your goal very, very, very quickly.
All right. This has in fact been a very, very interesting conversation, Ranganath. Thank you so much for joining us on NewsX India A-List, and more power to you and more power to Fueladream.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Namaste and the very best. Thanks.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.